Fate is a difficult franchise to get in, but somehow, despite its convoluted storyline and a million spin-offs, it has managed to gather an impressive amount of fans both in and outside of Japan. Many gacha games have been adapted as an anime series in the past. Most of them, like Grand Blue Fantasy or Azure Lane, are terrible. But now we have Fate Grand Order Absolute Demonic Front Babylonia, trying to break this tradition. Most gacha adaptations, like the ones that I just mentioned, don't show high production values. They are clearly rush products that don't try to achieve much. In this case, the animators clearly invest a lot of effort into getting an actually good representation of the game, at least in terms of action. Of the 21 episodes that this series consists of, in almost every single one of them, there is at least one good fight. And most of them got either really good choreography or excellent animated effects that sells really well the epicness of the encounters. However, the 3D modeling for one character in particular is kind of bad, and some people might justify this by claiming that it's an aesthetic choice to distinguish this creature from everything else, but the 3D modeling rarely moves. Instead, the camera moves constantly around it, which represents some level of laziness. That being said, I think that the strongest aspect of the series is the cast, as they have memorable characters design, tons of charisma, and well-defined personalities that makes them easily distinguishable one from the others. My favorite personally was Quetzalcoatl. However, none of these apply to the protagonist, who is boring, and not only for his flat personality, but it gets worse as many moments relied on his non-existent charm, either to solve a specific situation or while interacting with other characters. Another problem that I have, and I don't know how much I can blame the series for this, is the character of Gilgamesh. I cannot separate this version from his previous incarnations. All I'm seeing is a character that got way more popular than it was originally intended, so they decided to change his personality and turn him into a hero. And this is not exclusive to this series. I have the same problem with the spin-off that is a cooking show where the tone is very wholesome, but I cannot get out of my head how many of them die, or the terrible relationships that many of the characters have between each others. And all of this brings me to one of the biggest problems with the show, the lack of development. There is like two characters that have something that could be called a character arc. Throughout the series, there is too much plot, too many MacGuffins, and very little character motivations beyond wanting to stop the villain. I think the best example is Smash and the protagonist. Even after watching the entire series and some OVAs, I still feel like I know nothing about the relationship. And again, other than the action, the cast of characters are the best part of the series, so it's a shame that there isn't more focus on them. Ultimately, the story is weak, but for what I have seen on the internet, even the people who love the game weren't expecting a compelling story, but rather a lot of action sequences, so they probably were satisfied. However, that doesn't change that not everything in the series is presented in a particularly good way, especially for those unfamiliarized with the game. Keep in mind that I have probably consumed much more of the Fate franchise than the average person. I just haven't played the mobile game because I dislike gacha games and its predatory mechanics centered around microtransactions and gambling. But again, keep in mind that I'm only criticizing problems with the anime, not the game. Okay, I want to go into details, so I'm going to talk about spoilers in 3, 2, 1. At the end of episode 19, the series introduced King Hassan, a grand servant. The problem is that the tone implies that I'm supposed to be excited about this guy, and that will not be a problem for the people who play the game, but for anime onlys it will be. In over 400 minutes of content before becoming an important character, he appears for 1.5 minutes in episode 3 and 2 minutes in episode 13. I personally don't think that is enough to justify the introduction of a character in a way that I'm supposed to care or be excited about his presence. And it's not like I think this is a Deus Ex Machina or something like that, but his brief appearance before episode 19 is not equivalent to his presence in the video game, especially in previous unadapted arcs. This would be as if in Lord of the Rings, the producers decided to first adapt the Two Towers, so they barely introduced Gandalf in 2 minutes at the beginning, and when at the end he comes and saves everyone, I think it will be justified for audience to wonder, wait, who is that? And why is he so important? I repeat, because I want to make this clear, this is a problem for the story of the anime as an adaptation, not for the video game itself. The point of an adaptation is to provide a solid narrative for both the new viewers and those that already experienced the original material. So while I don't doubt that the people familiarized with the video game can easily identify the references to this character, for the anime-only viewers, it's a problem in the narrative when this now important character wasn't teased and introduced in a more proper way before this point. Some people have said that the series is only supposed to please the video game players, but if it's so exclusive that they leave in gaps in the story on purpose because the players already know it, then why there is so much exposition? Why is there a flashback to previous singularities in the first couple chapters? Why did we receive a monologue about Merlin's powers and past among other characters' backstories? Why the 1 hour special Fate Grand Order, First Order and the episode 0 of this series are almost nothing but exposition? Or why did they explain where a Grand Servant is halfway through the series? I could understand that some people may want to see some of these particular moments animated, but the majority of them are just the characters sitting down and delivering exposition instead of a complex animated sequence. And at the end, if you play the video game, I'm not saying you shouldn't enjoy it. No. I'm just asking you to sympathize a little bit with the experience of those that have only seen the anime. So, that was FGO Babylonia. If you don't like the Fate franchise, there will be nothing here that really changed your mind. If you have never seen anything from the franchise before, this is a terrible starting point. But if you're a fan not only of the franchise, but especially of the video game, then be happy, because the series that you like received an adaptation that has effort put into it and is not awful. That was all from me. Thanks for watching.